Seriously, guys, we can't make this stuff up. The World Economic Forum just predicted what they're calling a catastrophic cyber event in the next 2 years. Here, check it out.
The most striking finding that we found is that 93% of cyber leaders and 86% of cyber business leaders believe that the geopolitical instability makes a catastrophic cyber event likely in the next 2 years. This far exceeds anything that we've seen in previous surveys.
Geopolitical instability in the next 2 years, guys. This is serious. And let's not forget about WEF founder Klaus Schwab warning about a major cyber pandemic around the world. Kind of like C-19, but for our computers. Here.
We all know, but still pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack. To use the COVID-19 crisis as a timely opportunity to reflect on the lessons the cybersecurity community can draw and improve our preparedness for a potential cyber pandemic.
Now, this is way back in 2020. Schwab told us about the coming cyber pandemic. He told us exactly what would come and how it would impact our society. And that was 3 years ago. Now, what do you guys think? Do you feel safe with all the computer systems controlling everything? Have you got AI and smart tech in your own home? Sound off in the comment section down below. I know I do. I walk into rooms, lights turn on, turn themselves off when I'm not using them. Temperatures adjust to my liking. Now, in the recent WEF cybersecurity survey, a whopping 93% of cyber leaders and 86% of cyber business leaders believe that the current geopolitical instability makes a catastrophic cyber event highly likely in the next future. Now, this surpasses anything that we've seen before. But hold on tight, guys, because there's more. Now, we've just received a major update from the hacking attacks front, and it's not looking pretty. And we've already talked about the initial wave a couple of videos back, but now we're facing an even more massive hacking attack. Reports are pouring in about countless businesses and government agencies falling victims to this type of wave of cyber attacks. Even the port of Rotterdam, the largest port in Europe and the second largest in the world, has been hit too. It's getting real, guys. Then, of course, there's the Global Risks Report talking about the looming cyber pandemic and the erosion of public trust and social cohesion. Then again, some people are saying that this is the WEF's way of taking control. Along with its allies, the WEF is supposedly eyeing a cyber pandemic as their ultimate move, a massive, ill-defined, false flag cyber attack, or a series of attacks targeting financial institutions, the power grid, and even the entire internet. And it's hard to argue against it. Now, one thing that I really feel here is that something big is on the horizon. What about you guys? That's why prioritizing self-protection in our financial freedom fam is so important. So just take a moment to review your online logins, especially those tied to your credit cards, your banking accounts, mortgages, and whatnot. Be on the lookout for any kind of suspicious activities. This is just one example as to why CBDC and digital currencies are a bad idea. They can't hack what you hold. Now, I'm not saying that you should be overly paranoid, but staying proactive is your best shot at defense in these uncertain times, right, guys? Definitely stay informed, stay alert, and let's face this digital storm together. Now, with that said, let's go and jump right in. Also, for the very best way to invest in gold or silver, check out the links in the description down below this video. Now, first, let's talk about these recent hacking attacks, shall we? So reports are pouring in about hundreds of businesses and government agencies falling victims to them. Even the largest port in Europe and the second largest in the world, the port of Rotterdam, has been hit too. Now, apparently, they're using file sharing networks to get in. Have you guys heard of this software called Move It? Well, it's commonly used for transferring large files, including encrypted data, such as customer information, payment details, credit card numbers, and even HR and payroll data. Kind of like the Dropbox for corporations, and it's how the hackers are getting into American systems. Now, this isn't just about the companies themselves. Now, what we really need to think about is the unauthorized access into Americans' proprietary and personal information. I mean, all your information could very well be just kind of out in the open with this stuff. Social security numbers, phone numbers, addresses, you name it. Because we're talking about major players here on the British side, we've seen companies like BBC and and British Airways losing their payroll system. In Canada, even the government of Nova Scotia has been compromised. And let's not forget about the good old US of A. They haven't revealed the comprehensive list yet, but we know that US government agencies, including the Department of Energy, the DOE, and its Oak Ridge facility have confirmed or been confirmed as targets. And it doesn't stop there, guys. Oil and gas companies, insurance companies, and a lot of others have fallen victims to these large-scale hacks. And it's probably why the WEF is predicting a catastrophic cyber event in the next year. During the WEF annual meeting in Davos, Jeremy Jurgens, the WEF managing director, he talked about their recent cybersecurity survey. They found out that a whopping 93% of cyber leaders and 86% of cyber business leaders, they believe that geopolitical instability significantly increases the probability of such an event. Now, what's scary is how Jurgens emphasized that cyber attacks can spread unpredictably. He talked about the Viasat attack on Ukraine, quote, which was initially intended to shut down communication services for the Ukrainian military, but has well closed off parts of electricity production across Europe, end quote. Wow. Now, what makes this even more intriguing is that the WEF and its partners have been preparing for a potential cyber pandemic that could disrupt society on a large scale. Just looking back at the WEF Global Risks Report 2022, they warned that if threats continue without mitigation, governments will continue to retaliate against perpetrators, actual or perceived, leading to open cyber warfare, further disruption for societies, and loss of trust in government's ability to act as government stewards. End quote. Translation: governments playing cyber chicken to the point where they declare open war on the interwebs. Yeah, so now here's the thought-provoking question of the day. Will a catastrophic cyber event really happen in the coming years, or are powerful government and global organizations using this crisis to consolidate their control through partnerships between government and corporations? Basically, is this just one big shell game, or is this really going to happen? I mean, they're using some pretty strong words in their warning here. Quote, a cyber attack with C-19-like characteristics would spread faster and farther than any biological virus, end quote. Now, for sure, C-19 truthers have found a new pandemic to freak out about. And you may have heard about the Great Reset. Now, according to these theories, a group of powerful elites is allegedly exploiting the C-19 pandemic as an opportunity to exert control over the world's population. Basically, that the global elites of the World Economic Forum, the WEF, has either co-opted or fabricated the C-19 pandemic. Their end goal? Well, to exploit chaos and fear to expand their totalitarian powers and to create a dystopian future devoid of freedom, autonomy, and choice. So a future where people don't have very much freedom or autonomy in their choices or the things that they do. Do you want a future like that, guys? Now, they're talking about this cyber pandemic here, right? So the idea is that the same elites who supposedly are orchestrating this Great Reset, they're also planning a large-scale cyber attack on critical infrastructure, including banks, power grids, and the internet itself. So imagine a world without power, a world without gas, a world without food or communication, a world without the internet, leading to the collapse of economies and irreparable damage to countries. That way, governments could introduce centralized digital ID systems that would allow them to track and control individuals' activities in an increasingly digitalized world. Now, it's all over the online platforms, guys. You got Telegram, conspiracy websites, and Reddit forums. They are talking about events like the Cyber Polygon, an annual cybersecurity event supported by the WEF. Conspiracy theorists are saying that the event supports their belief in an upcoming cyber pandemic orchestrated by the elites. They see the WEF's language and their activities as clear indications of a disaster to come. Now, experts in the field, they don't really believe that these conspiracy theories are actually going to hold true. Instead, they say that the rise in cyber attacks is a consequence of advancements in technology and the accessibility of tools for malicious actors, rather than the evidence of a grand conspiracy theory. But hey, there's definitely something to be said about all this noise that's surrounding this issue, right? I'm not going to just completely blow it off. If not entirely true, at the very least, this shows a combination of distrust in the established institutions, a desire for a simple explanation for complex issues, and a human tendency to seek patterns and meaning where they may not exist. People are looking for a sense of control and certainty in uncertain times. So they're clinging to theories like this since they really just can't trust the government anymore. You know what I mean? Now, I think we definitely need to address the root cause that contributes to their popularity. Socioeconomic disparities, political polarization, a lack of of trust for institutions, it plays a significant role in the fueling of these alternative narratives. So if we work together toward a fairer and more inclusive society that addresses these issues, then we could create an environment where conspiracy theories don't have that much of a hold on people. But first, it is critical to protect yourselves amidst all this chaos. Now, if you have online logins for your credit cards, for your banking accounts, for your debit cards, your investment brokerage accounts, your cryptocurrency accounts, make sure you check them for any kind of suspicious activities. Like they say, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. You know what I mean? The leaked information hasn't surfaced on the dark web yet, but companies are reporting unauthorized access. Now, the question is, what happens now? Interestingly, though, these hackers are associated with this CLOP group, which consists of Russian-speaking agencies. It's becoming a pattern here, isn't it? Russian-speaking hacking groups are going on the offensive, and there are even indications that there are certain Chinese groups that are also flexing their muscles as well. Are we witnessing the start of a full-blown cyber war? Now, this is something we definitely need to prepare for, especially even when the Department of Homeland Security admits that they're urgently trying to understand to the extent that the impact of this damage would be caused. I mean, we need to be prepared for a growing list of affected corporations and government entities. Some of this hacked data is being ransomed, and that is bound to create a host of problems. I mean, just imagine if your credit card information or your bank account details appearing on the dark web is being sold to the highest bidder. It could turn our lives upside down, folks. So here's what you can do. Consider changing your passwords to be safe, and keep a close eye on your credit card statements for any kind of suspicious transactions. Now, if you spot anything fishy, don't hesitate to reach out to your credit card company and also dispute those charges. Some people have gone as far as freezing their credit reports. That's unless you need to use the credit right away for, maybe applying for a home, applying for a loan, a car payment, a car loan, a house, credit cards, things like that. Now, you can still use your credit cards, but no new lines of credit can be opened until you unfreeze your credit reports. Now, it's free and it's 100% effective in stopping unwanted credit fraud from IDs being stolen and whatnot. But what do you guys think about this? It's essential to stay vigilant and track your spending very carefully. I'm keeping close watch on this situation, and I hear about bigger targets like Amazon, Microsoft, or even Gmail being hacked. I'll definitely post an update on that one. So make sure you guys do not miss it. Hit the subscribe button now and tap that notification bell right after. Definitely more to come in the next one, guys. But for now, this is our cybersecurity update and daily news report. The World Economic Forum warning about a catastrophic cyber event and an even bigger cyber pandemic conspiracy theory all around. Also, what you can do to protect your family and to protect your cash flow. Appreciate you guys watching. You guys be safe out there, and I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one.